All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis. Your boy is tired once again. Not nearly as crazy of times, but you know what? I'm just ready for the 4th of July weekend, man. It's fast approaching. Fast approaching, I say. Just Sunday stuff, leading into Monday stuff, I suppose. I have a real gluttonous Sunday on pretty much every Sunday, so that's kind of a habit I probably have to kick here at some point. No matter, we're back with Unqualified Analysis here. I'm your host, Caleb. You can follow me on the socials at CalebVUA. Go ahead and hit subscribe wherever you listen to this. We do it every single week during the offseason. Though there's a good chance I take a break somewhere around here towards football season. Seems like a prudent thing to do, I would say. We'll discuss that later days down the road. Maybe the following week. Maybe the following week we take the week off before we hop into the division previews here, going once a week up until the start of the year. It's that time, folks. It is absolutely that time, and it's a beautiful thing to see. That being said, we've got just a regular sort of off-season episode for you. I have got a couple headlines, really only like 3 big headlines. There was a big one that dropped today as I'm recording this on Monday. I'm sure you already know, and I'm sure it'll be in the title because there's not a whole lot else going on in the NFL. NBA. It's popping off, but this isn't really an NBA show. I made an exception for Kevin Durant because that's like a cornerstone player in the league. You kind of got to. I don't know if you have to comment on that. I just found it fascinating. The more I look on that, the more I like the trade for the Houston Rockets. Heard some things about Jalen Green that maybe that was a good offload there, and then they just re-upped Jabari Smith on off his rookie deal. So things are looking up for the Houston Rockets. But outside of that, not really going to be talking about the NBA, though things are popping off. Let's not get it twisted here. But outside of that, I'm going to give you a special sort of 4th of July treat for you heading into 4th of July weekend. We're talking American sports heroes, my friends. American sports heroes. I'm going to try and give you a top 10 in no particular order. Plus some honorable mentions, just like mainly athletes, really not even necessarily solely about their greatness. It's more about their iconic nature in American sports history. One that's going to shock you here at number 1, but we'll get to that here in just a bit. We got some housekeeping to do, not as far as the show is concerned, but certainly as far as housekeeping is concerned. Really just headlines in general. I don't know where I'm at today, but let me just get a quick swig of this here real quick. And why don't we try to just make this a nice little 40-ish minute episode? 45? Huh? Sound good to you? Because it sounds great to me. All right, let's get going into this thing. So, obviously, biggest headline in this entire, week of NFL news, you could call it. This happened on Monday, so yesterday, as this is coming out, the Dolphins are trading former All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. We knew this was going to happen. We were just wondering about the destination. And they are also trading tight end Jonnu Smith. I don't know if it's part of the deal or it's a separate deal to the same team. Either way, both going to the Steelers for big-time compensation here. Minkah Fitzpatrick and a late-round pick swap, that being a 5th going to the Dolphins and a 7th going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, in one fell swoop, you get a number 1 quarterback for however much longer you have Jalen Ramsey as a number 1 cornerback. He's just the latest in an addition to, I don't really know what it is. The Vikings love old quarterbacks. The Steelers just love old players, I guess, because they brought in 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. They certainly love old cornerbacks, though. And this is a storied tradition of bringing in old cornerbacks going back a couple years now. So we'll see how that works out. Joey Porter Jr. is like a decade younger than the next guy in the depth chart, I would say, which is wild to think about, but I digress on that front. They sent Minkah Fitzpatrick in the deal. That's kind of a bit of a head scratcher, I suppose. He's getting up there. He's reeling in the years, stowing away the time, as they say. But still a really good player, one of the better safeties in the entire NFL. He carries a big cap number, so that might have something to do with this. But they also signed Jonnu Smith to a 12-year, not 12-year deal. That would be a bit excessive for what Jonnu Smith is bringing to the table. They signed him to a $12 million one-year deal as part of this thing. So And they're bringing in a big-time contract in Jalen Ramsey. They even upped his compensation by about $1.5 million, I believe, to like $26 million and change. So still not sure where they're finding the money for TJ Watt. Negotiations not going well there, but we'll see if it was worth it to bring in Jalen Ramsey for a guy that really cleans up a lot for him on the back end and does a lot of roles for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. We'll see if it was worth it. That's all I'm saying. I'm interested to see what this new mixture of players looks like. It's going to be incumbent on how good the cornerback group is, because when you take out a safety like that covers up so many things for you on the back end, obviously a lot more pressure. I'm sorry about that. That was disgusting. I just let out a nice little burp there, pursuant to that delicious can of Coke that I just swigged off of there real quick. But when you take out a safety like that, getting back on topic, it becomes a lot more incumbent on the cornerbacks that are there, namely Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay. You may have forgotten that he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but shout out Mississippi State. The future Hall of Fame cornerback is in Pittsburgh now. Joey Porter Jr., obviously. They do have a very good front four. That is a little bit incumbent on what happens with J.J. Watt, though. Not J.J. He has been retired for a couple years now. T.J. Watt, what's happening with T.J. Watt? Who knows what happens from here? I don't think they trade him, but it doesn't sound like contract negotiations are going well, and this is one that I kind of expected to be done by now, I would say. It's a heavy price tag, though. I mean, they're probably looking at around like probably $40 million is roughly what TJ is asking for, if I had to guess. I mean, right up there with what Myles Garrett got. I don't think he got quite $40 million. Maybe he did. I think it might have been a 4-year, $160 million sort of deal. Crazy stuff. Jimmy Haslam, man, he just hands out money like there's no tomorrow. Like there's a meteor hitting Earth tomorrow. Who cares if I'm giving away $160 million? I mean, 120 if that's guaranteed, by the way. Crazy stuff. Great times to be an NFL player, I'll tell you what, but I digress on that front. That's all to say, I expected them to figure out something at this point, but I'm sure the number that TJ Watt is asking for is a big deal in all of this. So I don't know where that ends up. I know they're going to need him with losing Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end to kind of bring about the vision that I believe the defensive group there is kind of looking to instill. I do think they have enough players to still have a very good defense without TJ Watt, but they're not going to have a transcendent defense, I don't think, without TJ Watt in that lineup. So I'm interested to see what happens there. I think that's the most interesting little nugget coming out of this, and I think it's great for TJ Watt's camp because they have a little bit of leverage, I suppose. I mean, as much leverage as someone under contract can have. I mean, I think if there's any leverage to be gained, it's in the fact that it seems like he's willing to leave if they can't come to a number, and he's willing to accept a trade, which could ultimately get him paid. It's just a matter of who's going to pay him at that point. Would love to see the, almost said San Diego Chargers. My goodness, I did end up saying it right there, so it doesn't really matter, but almost really dead named him off the cuff there. The LA Chargers, for how much they are a team in LA at this point, I'd love to see them take a crack at it. I mean, hey, you get a guy like TJ Watt and Jesse Minter's defense, and you just chef's kiss. All I got to say is just let that man go to work. It's going to be beautiful stuff to watch. I'm still unconvinced that he's going to leave Pittsburgh. I'm unconvinced that he's going to get traded, and Pittsburgh has traded players like this in the past, but I don't know if TJ Watt is necessarily the malcontent that like an Antonio Brown was, especially in hindsight, more so than we even gave Antonio Brown credit for. He was a big-time headache. I don't think TJ Watt is that kind of player whatsoever. I think this is just kind of asking for what you are deserved, and the Pittsburgh Steelers being reticent to give that because they have a bunch of big-time contracts on the books. But if there was ever a time to just throw caution to the wind and spend the money, it's right now. You got 1 year of Aaron Rodgers. Why not go all in on this? And this is part of it with the Jalen Ramsey trade. If they want to complete the full go all in sort of mentality, give TJ Watt his money. Now is the time. Now is the time, I would say. Just figure it out cap-wise. TJ Watt deserves whatever money you can give him going forward. So We'll see how that all progresses. That was just an interesting development to come out of all this. And I do think the Steelers, man, I think they're going to be right up there. Probably second place in the division, right behind the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're a solid playoff team this year. The offensive line is going to be the biggest hinge on what happens with this team. I think they have a good group of run personnel as far as the running backs are concerned. They got, however you think about them, I'd say mostly negatively in the general consensus of American football fans here. I don't know why I said it like that, but in the general consensus of NFL fans, I think Najee Harris, getting him out of there might ultimately be a good thing. You bring in Caleb Johnson. Is it Caleb Johnson? Yeah, it's Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back. Probably drafted him when you maybe shouldn't have. Maybe you should have gone with a different position there. You can quibble about that, but they did get a good back there in the second round, I believe. Second or third round. No, they didn't have a second round pick, so yeah, it was the third round they ended up getting him. Super deep running back draft, so you getting a guy like that in the third round, that's pretty good value right there. If ever there was a year to draft a running back, it was this past season. Crazy depth at that position. I think we're going to see that bear out throughout the course of this season, but running the ball is going to help a offensive line that we're still not entirely sure about. Pass protection is going to be the big issue here, because if they can't protect, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not mobile like he once was, especially post Achilles. He's kind of a statue back there at this point. He can still sling it if you give him time. Arm, obviously, at 41 is not what it was at, say, 27, but he can still sling it. He still has enough arm strength. He can diagnose a defense. He's always going to be able to do that. That's never going away. It's the physical attributes that might fail him. If you can keep him upright and you can put good protection around him, this could work out. This could work out with a good running game. We'll see what the defense has in store. TJ Watt's a big piece in this. If they can get him in the building, the Steelers team could make a run. Who knows how far they get? Maybe second round or championship game is as far as they can get. Likely the ceiling for them. But I like this Steelers group this year. I think Mike Tomlin has a nice squad. Still got to figure out quarterback long term. But as far as a one-year run, could be worse. You just hope Aaron Rodgers isn't completely insufferable. Maybe a lot to ask, but if there's anyone that can do it, it is Mike Tomlin. So we'll see how this all plays out. Let's keep it moving from there, though. I spent a good amount of time on that, I suppose. We'll hit on this one quickly. Bucks extended head coach Todd Bowles and GM Jason Light for a multiple of years. Can't really talk today. Multi-year extensions for both of those guys is what I'm getting at here. Maybe one of the most likable teams in the league, I would say. The more I think about it, I mean, unless you are an NFC South fan, that's a special situation. Obviously, I have going to college in the South and kind of knowing people that are sports fans. I know some Saints fans, and they are not. They're not fans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta Falcons, same thing there. And I mean, you can go the full round robin of teams that in that division that probably aren't fans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you step outside of that division, who really hates the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man? I mean, especially with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. He's really turned himself into a nice player, a really solid, high-level starting quarterback. Maybe not quite on that level of like MVP candidacy. He wasn't far off it last year, though. I mean, he led the league in touchdown passes. He's a gunslinger. The team loves him. He's a great leader. I think a leader of men in ways that you don't necessarily see from quarterbacks all the time. And just the fact that he really ingrains himself into a culture in the locker room, has a hard edge to him. Todd Bowles, for all the quibbles you can make on him as a coach, very, very likable guy. There's not a player with a bad word to say about Todd Bowles, I would say. He's a very, I mean, say what you will about him as a coach. He is defensive coordinator, you can't say shit about him. As a head coach, I'm talking about. He is a very, very decent human being and a guy that players really love. And Jason Light's he's the guy that brought in Tom Brady. He's the guy that made that super team around Tom Brady, call it like it is. I mean, they absolutely ran through the NFC late down the stretch that year with Tom Brady. And he's a guy that's drafted very well over the years. And it's a core of players, too. I mean, Chris Godwin, very likable player. Mike Evans, also very likable player. You got guys like on the offensive line, Cody Mauch. I'm going to get that one day because he's going to be an elite offensive lineman for years to come. I think it's Cody Mauch. I want to say it's Cody Mauch. Either way, very likable player. Everyone remembers him. Well, maybe not everyone. This might be a deep cut for like big-time college football fans. He was the guy for North Dakota State. He was missing like 2 or 3 front teeth, smiling, a big old toothless grin there in his photos in college. He gained like 100 pounds throughout college too, so he walked in as just a boy and then came out here like a grizzled mountain man, and now he's in the NFL at this point. He's a very likable player. I mean, you got players up and down this roster. I just highlighted the offense there. But Levante David, also very likable player, I would say. A lot of really, really solid dudes on this team. And I think I'm expecting big things from them this year. I mean, I've already, in my recklessly early predictions, I had them as the 1 seed in the NFC. And that's based really a lot on schedule, I would say, more than anything. But think about what they were before Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went out for an extended period of time early in the season. They were an unstoppable offense, especially with Chris Godwin in there. I mean, maybe the elite offense in the NFL. How much of that is Liam Cohen? How much of that is Baker Mayfield and the supporting cast? I think it was a lot of Baker Mayfield and the supporting cast, and I think they roughly kept the system just about the same. So I'm very excited about this offense. I'm very excited about this team, and they're very likable. I apologize to my NFC South fan friends, but they're very likable as a team. So big ups to those guys. Todd Bowles, Jason Light, very well deserved. We'll see how long they stick around. That's always a bit of a murky proposition at the NFL level. Or, I mean, hey, you think the NFL's bad? Go look at the NBA. I'll tell you. But in this in this league, you never know. You can get an extension, they get fired the next offseason. We're talking billionaires here. These buyouts don't mean a goddamn thing to them. So we'll see. That's what I got to say. We shall see. And another one here. We'll just hit on this real quick before we get into the top American sports heroes, in my mind, of all time. No particular order for the most part. Well, there is a bit of a particular order. I kind of ordered it a little bit here. But last headline before that, disgraced kicker Justin Tucker accused serial sexual predator at the salons, taking notes from taking notes. I hate to laugh. I'm just thinking about the details of this thing. Massage parlor guy went to a million different masseuses. Interestingly enough, I need to check the timeline on this, but I believe the last incident in question here happened, I want to say, like right around the time that the Deshaun Watson stuff was coming out. So it's not funny, but it is funny to look at the timeline and be like, oh, I wonder what happened here where he started laying low. And yeah, that's that. Justin Tucker, bad guy, allegedly bad guy. I mean, those lawsuits are all going to settle. But listen here. I don't want to speak too much. I don't want to dox myself more than I already have on this show. Let's just say these lawsuits pretty much always settle unless they are completely baseless, in which case they get thrown out. This is not going to a trial because Justin Tucker does not want to go through the discovery process. There's some plaintiff, well, maybe not in this context, but there's some discovery that would be going on that Justin Tucker simply does not want if there's any validity to these accusations. So those lawsuits are all going to get settled. I just don't think Justin Tucker's ever going to have a team again that he plays for. But for what it's worth, he got suspended 10 games next season, which seems to be the standard sort of penalty for alleged serial sex pests / predators. See, Deshaun Watson also got 10 games for a lot of heinous crimes of his own. Alleged, of course. Once again, alleged. All these things are alleged. There was no verdict handed down, just a settlement. So, allegedly, of course. Watch the YouTube there. Yeah, watch the YouTube. Something tells me he'll be, you know what, it's still alleged. Something tells me he'll be out for the full 17, though, because he's a toxic distraction that no one's going to sign. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it. But I suppose it's newsworthy to say that the NFL has now set a precedent for alleged serial sex pests, such as Justin Tucker and previously the guy that set the standard there, if you will, that being Deshaun Watson. So with that, one more allegedly for the road, and we're going to get this thing going. We have got the American sports heroes, maybe not of our generation, but of all time, the greatest, you could say. Words kind of out of order there, but we landed the plane towards the end. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a hit off this sweet, sweet Coca-Cola, and then I'm going to go take a look at this. Just a quick look as I'm looking right now. I mean, again, out of order in the thoughts. Now we're just going to get right into it. We're going to get right into it, and some of you are not going to like this. Maybe some of you will. I don't know. We're trying some things out. It's the summer. Ain't shit going on. But I'm going to take a swig of this, then we're going to get right into it, okay? Okay. Aftershocks. Hold up. There we go. I think we're in the clear. Well, there we go. Now we're in the clear. Okay, so starting from the bottom here, I got some honorable mentions. We did like a top 10 here, like I said, but some honorable mentions because obviously 10 is just not enough. There is like anywhere from like 15 to 20 athletes that you can consider in this sort of group of iconic American sports heroes. So I guess first off, we'll explain my personal criteria here. That way you know where to quibble from if you have quibbles about my rankings, I suppose, if you will. That's coordination stuff for later. Staying on topic here. So my thing is I kept it basically just to players. You could include coaches if you want, but then that gets, that gets a little bit, I mean, where do we even go from there? Are we talking Mike Krzyzewski? I don't think you could consider him an American hero just because he coached at Duke for like 40 years, essentially. So I don't know about all that. Bobby Knight, not really that good of a guy. Very good basketball coach, but I mean, notably a bad guy. Rest in peace, of course, to Bob Knight. But there was just too much to think about in that, so we kept it just to the athletes. And the athletes are really the answers anyways. No one's growing up idolizing a coach. And that's another portion of this that I'm factoring in here. I thought whenever I was making these rankings, who is someone going to idolize growing up? Or who is even like going to idolize as an adult, if you will. That really factors into this. And just kind of overall pop culture influence from an American sports or just a general sports perspective. Really, performances on the world stage that are iconic and stick out, burned into my memory, have been given preferential treatment, as you're going to see from some of these American heroes that I am going to be reading out here. But with that said, hold on, I got some breaking news. Okay, Denver Nuggets. I'll put this one in here real quick, and then we'll get right into the honorable mentions here. Denver Nuggets are trading Michael Porter Jr. to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. They're also sending a... Okay, no. So the Nuggets are getting a unprotected first-round pick in 2032, which is notably 7 years from now. And they are also getting Cam Johnson. Solid young player there for the Brooklyn Nets. So he is now going over to the Denver Nuggets. I don't hate that trade. I don't hate that trade one bit. Hilarious that they traded a first-round pick 7 years into the future. They're going to forget they even have that pick in 7 years, if they still have it in the first place, because they could trade for another player. Who's to even say? The NBA is hilarious. Anyways, let's get to the honorable mentions here. So a lot of these are like old-time guys or guys without enough of a resume to be included on this list, and women for that matter. There is one woman in here, but Babe Ruth, I've debated putting him in here. He is an iconic American sports hero, obviously. I mean, I don't know about the first great baseball player, but maybe the first iconic baseball player that has withstood the tests of time, especially with his all-time rankings on home run lists and stuff like that. Pitched, hit, all that stuff. Different era, obviously. Also was a Puerto Rican man. Let's not forget that. He was not a white man, Puerto Rican man, and I will die on that hill. That's a conspiracy theory. That's not even a conspiracy. That's just stone cold facts, okay? But he was obviously very iconic. Just, I think about in the modern era, no one's growing up thinking about Babe Ruth for the most part. Obviously, very baseball-centric families might be introducing Babe Ruth to their kids, in which case you are breeding ginormous, rabid baseball fans. And you know what? That's a service right there, because there's not enough young representation on that front. So kudos to you if you are doing that. But as far as 2025 is concerned, I decided to leave him off the list. You can quibble with that. I'm sure there are many quibbles that will come along the way, but I decided to leave him off the list. But an honorable mention, obviously, because it's Babe fucking Ruth. So, another one here. Maybe not quite as iconic, but we're a football show, so I got to bring in Jim Thorpe here. He was good at literally everything. His only downside was that he did all this stuff before like football was really popular. And this is probably a guy that does not necessarily belong on the top 10 list. That's why I put him at honorable mention. People should be idolizing Jim Thorpe more, because he was maybe one of the greatest athletes of all, not maybe one of the greatest athletes of all time. He's in the conversation for greatest athlete of all time, because he was dominant at track. He was dominant at football. He was dominant at baseball as well, I believe. He was dominant at literally every single thing he tried in his entire life. I think he ultimately met an early end, very tragically so. And you hate to see that, but as far as his athletic career, my God, Jim Thorpe, just go look up some of the stats there. I mean, he was good at literally everything. Good at literally everything, so he belongs in the honorable mentions. I have mentioned him here. Does not meet the icon status that we were looking for this top 10 list. Patrick Mahomes, just not enough of a resume. I think he'll be there in about 10, 15 years, especially if he plays a long career like Tom Brady did, and he's going to obviously have to evolve over time like Tom Brady did to get to that point, but I think he can definitely do it. If he plays well into his 40s like Brady did, though, especially he's going to have to endure coaching change at that point, because Andy Reid's not going to stick around all of that time. In fact, I think you might have like 5 more years of Andy Reid, if that long. Might be closer to 3. I mean, Andy Reid's no spring chicken here. We'll just see how much the winning keeps him around, but he'd have to go through regime change and survive that, mostly injury-free, and then you're going to have to, endure from there for a long time and take care of your body for a long, long period of time. But if he gets there, he's going to find his way up in the top 10. I think from that little description there, you can tell who did make the top 10, but we'll save that here for a bit. You'll just have to see where he falls on the list. But Patrick Mahomes, if we had this conversation 10, 15 years down the line, good chance he makes the list, but right now just doesn't quite make the cut. J.J. Watt is an honorable mention because, again, I don't think every American kind of thinks about J.J. Watt or necessarily knows who J.J. Watt is, but I think he's like an all-time like good dude for the community. I mean, he raised like $30-some million, I believe, for hurricane relief whenever that hurricane came through Houston. I forget the name of it. I apologize. But I mean, they love him. He's a god in Houston. He can do no wrong in Houston because he has literally put his money where his mouth is and helped the community when it needed it most. When Joel Osteen was closing the doors to his church, J.J. Watt was putting together tens of millions of dollars in aid to help out the city and to rebuild. And he's just an all-time good dude. I love J.J. Watt. So maybe not quite the icon status, but an all-time great player. A first ballot Hall of Famer if there ever was one in my mind. I mean, I think he won 3 straight Defensive Players of the Year, maybe like 4. Absolute freak. The best player in defensive football at the very least for a long stretch of time there. Very, early in the prime of his career for sure. So I love J.J. Watt. He doesn't necessarily belong in the top 10, but I wanted to shout out J.J. Watt. This will be a controversial one. I don't think I had any golf representation here in the top 10. It's just so stacked, but I had to put Tiger Woods in here. I really, really debated putting Tiger Woods in, man. I was so close to putting in Tiger Woods. If it wasn't for the scandal stuff, if it wasn't for the burning of the Golden Boy image, I think there might be an argument here, and there is still a really, really good argument because he is peak-wise, dominance-wise, the greatest golfer of all time. He's got records that are going to stand for a long, long time. We'll see if Scottie Scheffler makes a run at it, but he's got a long, long way to go, and that just tells you how great this guy was for a long period of time. And he was iconic. He is iconic. He was a foundational player for where golf is now. Golf would not be at the popularity level it is right now if it was not for Tiger Woods. And look what happened. I mean, you're seeing maybe the beginnings of this with Caitlin Clark as we go along here. That's a lot to put on her. But Tiger Woods came in. Some people knew the golfers out there. I'd say many people do. Obviously, there's been dedicated fans of golf for a long, long time. But Tiger Woods brought it mainstream. Then guys like Phil Mickelson became mainstream. Guys like, you can pick any of the guys that beat Tiger Woods. I'm not a golf expert here, but guys that had, came up over time. Now where you're seeing a bunch of guys that are very interesting characters, and the sport is better than it's ever been. And that's all due to Tiger Woods. And he's iconic, but man, it speaks to the high level and quality of this list, and I am sure you can find someone who you would personally bump out. But for me, he just barely, just right here on the outside looking in, man. I want to put him in, but I just can't find someone to bump out, frankly. I think there may be one obvious one that you may want to bump out, but if you're a good American, you'll agree with me, and you'll see what I'm talking about here coming up. And the last honorable mention here before we get into the top 10, Steph Curry. Really, he's got all the resume you would want. And I think when kids are growing up watching basketball now, it was either LeBron James or Steph Curry. I guess it just depends on when you were born. If you were like in your upper 20s, getting into your 30s, especially like mid-30s, you grew up a LeBron guy. If you are in your early 20s or younger, you grew up a Steph guy. And that's just kind of how it is. So he transformed the game of basketball, is one of the more likable players of all time, annoyingly so. I mean, he is the golden boy image to the max, I would say, is Steph Curry, and he's been that way for a long, long time. He's just an absolute stud, an absolute beaut, and revolutionized the game of basketball in some good ways, some bad ways. It really upped the efficiency and kind of brought in what we're seeing now for better or for worse, but a formative player in how the game is played, and a formative player he didn't just change the game at the NBA level, he changed the game at all levels. Everybody was watching Steph Curry when Steph Curry was setting the three-point record year after year after year, the greatest shooter of all time by a wide margin, I would say. And that's... that deserves a lot of credit. He is also a guy that was just on the outside looking in, I would say. I would say Tiger probably had a little bit of a leg on him. Tiger was just a hair off. There was just some big time notable things that came in between him and getting the top 10. So Steph Curry, honorable mention here as well. Let us get into the list itself. So we're starting off at number 10 here. And the bottom 5 here, you can kind of put these in whatever order, frankly. I don't really know. And it's so hard to rank these things, but I did the best I could on short notice because this was a last-minute sort of idea. As I looked at the prep sheet and saw 3 headlines, I was like, hey, man, we can't have a 20-minute episode. I'm cool with like 45, but you can't have 20. You can't have 20. So here we are. But at number 10, I have... for my money, maybe the greatest women's tennis player of all time. Certainly the most iconic for a multitude of reasons. Serena Williams, high-level dominance. What does she have, like 22, 23 majors at this point? All-time dominant athlete. Just physically... I'm sure she takes this as a compliment. You just don't always talk about this, about like women athletes. A physically imposing athlete, a true dominant physical athlete at the tennis level, which you don't usually see in the women's game. You certainly saw it with Serena Williams, and she absolutely dominated for a long period of time, was a huge reason why girls were getting into tennis, especially little black girls are getting into tennis. They saw a role model right there with Serena Williams. Coco Gauff, I would say, maybe not a direct sort of descendant of that legacy of idolization at the youth sports level. But I would say that Venus and Serena Williams, both big-time factors in that. Oh, yeah, by the way, I just skipped right over. I'm so sorry. Venus Williams is on the honorable mentions as well. I'm sorry about that. Venus is older than Serena. Venus was there before Serena and was dominating before Serena, but Serena had the better career. So we gave the nod to Serena because she is a all-time iconic athlete. Number 10 on my list. Number 9, went a little bit outside the box on this one, but literally the miracle on ice. The entire 1980 U.S. hockey team. The most iconic win maybe in American sports history against that Soviet team in 1980. They didn't win the gold, by the way. I think they ended up winning like the silver or something like that. But they beat the Soviets, who were the greatest hockey team in the world. And it's one of the most iconic. I don't know a damn thing about it outside of Al Michaels called that game. That's how long Al Michaels has been in the booth. Great storied career as a play-by-play guy. But in all time, I love this. I love this team. One of the more iconic teams in all of sports history. From the Americans' perspective, especially doing it against the Soviets. Maybe it's a little bit manufactured on that front, but when you combine the geopolitics with the sports here, it can either go really bad or really great. And this time it went really great and made it an iconic sports team. So I put them there at number 9. You can make an argument that Serena should be higher, but listen, man, this was kind of thrown together a little bit. I do stand on my top 10. The order is a little bit shaky, especially here in the back half. But we keep it moving. Wayne Gretzky, the great one. By far the greatest hockey player of all time. A lot of the reason why people got into hockey, I mean, he's the Michael Jordan of hockey, if you will. Just crazy. I mean, you take out all of his goals. This is a famous stat, so I'm sure you've heard it before. You take out all of Wayne Gretzky's goals, he's still the all-time leading scorer in NHL history. That's how far and away he is ahead of everyone else as far as a great scorer is concerned. Obviously, different era. He had guys on his line that would kill people. Their only job was to go out there and beat the shit out of people if they touched Wayne Gretzky. So that does help. That does give you a little bit more space when you have murderers on your side. But who else is going to do that? Who else is going to do that? Connor McDavid is pretty damn good in his own right, but Wayne Gretzky is just something else, man. And he is a true American icon. So he's there at number 8 for me. Number 7, maybe a little bit lower than some people might have him, but I got LeBron James right here, man. And maybe you could definitely make an argument that he should be higher in this thing, but as far as an all-time iconic basketball player, another foundational piece to the NBA that rocketed the NBA to new heights after the LeBron James era. Kobe Bryant could have been an honorable mention for this as well, but he wasn't on the level of LeBron. LeBron is, I mean, 1 or 2, take your pick, player of all time. Unless you're being a hater, then that's your prerogative, I suppose. Or you're trying to drum up some sort of controversy, you want to be different, cool. Put someone else there at number 1 or number 2, other than, LeBron James. He's got to be in there somewhere. He grew the game globally in a way that really only a guy that's going to be a little bit higher than him on this list did. Much higher than him, actually. Okay, so sorry, got a text there that I was very interested in. We'll leave that there. But that is why I have LeBron James here at number 7. Just iconic player. He was a globally recognizable player. He's a guy that, again, like I said, either Steph Curry or LeBron James. LeBron James just had a more iconic career, I would say, and had, you could say, his greatest moment. One of his greatest moments. He had a slew of them with the Heat. I'm thinking Game 6 against the Boston Celtics, I believe that was, 2009? No, that was 2010, I believe, because that was the year the LeBron that we know was born. And it became a meme, but I'm seeing the face in my mind. I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps because I watched that game live, and 30 points in the first half, man. That was, again, I literally just got goosebumps thinking about that. Just the intensity I saw from LeBron James in that Game 6 against the Boston Celtics back in 2010. Again, I believe it was 2009, 2010. I can't quite remember. The way he came out there was something that I'll never forget. And I don't know I don't know that I can feel that way about sporting events anymore, quite frankly. It's just something that really sticks with you all your life. And that's, again, maybe my bias is showing through, but yeah, so many great moments from LeBron James. One of his greatest, though, did come at the hands of Steph Curry and that Warriors team, getting that iconic block in the NBA Finals, Game 7, to go ahead and win that thing improbably over the Golden State Warriors, the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. Just so many iconic moments in LeBron James's career, and that's why he's on this list, man. That's why he's on this list. Global influence as well as local influence. So above him, I have number 6, Tom Brady. And this is one you could definitely quibble with, because a lot of people did not like Tom Brady, but after a certain point in his career, he was so great that he was just undeniable. And I don't know if he's necessarily looked up to in a way that you would say like a LeBron James was necessarily, but I do think as far as iconic NFL athletes, iconic American sports athletes, you say the name Tom Brady, everyone knows who you're talking about immediately. There's no confusion whatsoever. When you're talking about the other Tom Brady, yeah, you know which fucking Tom Brady I'm talking about. That name recognition. There is a global sort of component to him too. He is big overseas. I think he's one of the few NFL athletes that I would say would fall into this category of iconic everywhere around the world. He is an American icon, whether you like it or not. Probably should have included Derek Jeter in this conversation for a similar sort of reason. Not everyone liked him, but he was iconic. Tom Brady is the GOAT for now. I still believe you already know my spiel on that. Give me 10 to 15 years, you're going to be on my side. I almost guarantee you of that. But he's the GOAT, and he is probably the most recognizable NFL player in the modern era. So that's why he gets put on this list. He is an American icon by the definition, so that's why he is at number 6. Number 5, I have got, now we got Olympic athletes in here, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is a big-time one here. Obviously, all-time winningest athlete in Olympic history, has the most gold medals. Absolute competitive psycho. That video that came out, I can't remember what year it was. I can't remember if it was before the last Olympics or the Olympics before that, though I think Michael Phelps might have competed in the last Olympics before that. I digress on that front. But I remember Michael Phelps looking at a video of like an Australian swimmer saying they want to beat the Americans. The Americans are annoying, just kind of joking around. And Michael Phelps, you saw the switch flip and you saw him go into war mode where he was dead set. He wanted to jump in a pool right that second and swim for 5 hours. That dude was ready to just eat nails. To go out there and smoke anyone that was next to him. He's an all-time competitor, an all-time iconic Olympic athlete. Just an all-time, everyone knows who Michael Phelps is as well. Something about these swimmers, they can win all sorts of medals, and for whatever reason, no one cares about swimming 3 years and 330 some days, but that 30 days for the Olympics, everyone is locked into swimming, and it has a huge sort of global impact, cultural impact for how infrequent it comes along, but maybe that's part of the magic of it. Michael Phelps belongs in the top 5 here. So I put him there at number 5. He belongs in this list regardless, but I think he belongs in the top 5, which with what he did throughout the course of his entire career. Competed in 4 Olympics too, which as a swimmer is kind of crazy. Just speaks to the maniacal work ethic that he has as a swimmer. But we'll keep it moving from there. Number 4, I have Jesse Owens. You may argue that this guy could be even higher on this list. Obviously, swept the sprinting events, I believe, at the Munich Olympics, Berlin Olympics, not Munich. Berlin back in 1938, I believe. That was Hitler's Olympics. That was the OG sports washing, if you will, for Adolf Hitler. And Jesse Owens goes in there, a black man who does not conform with Hitler's worldview, going in there in Berlin on the world stage and smoking all those pretty little Aryan boys. I think every hot-blooded American can look at that spectacle and say, hell fucking yeah, Jesse Owens. You won one for the world. Not just America, for the world. But because of that performance alone, pretty much, he is one of the most iconic American heroes in sports history. Signed, sealed, delivered. Look at that tweaking out Adolf Hitler up there in the stands watching his Aryan brothers lose. He's not even really an Aryan by his own definition. A real hypocrite there. Hey, newsflash here, Hitler wasn't necessarily a good guy. Have you heard about that? Have you seen this? But Jesse Owens, a true American hero, number 4, enough said. Could even be higher for that iconic performance. But at number 3, I got Muhammad Ali. For whatever you believe on him as far as the politics are concerned, kind of the same sort of deal with Jesse Owens. Because that was, I think he held up the fist at the ceremony. I don't want to mischaracterize it necessarily, but it's like, Black Power symbol. He held up the fist there at the ceremony, I want to say, did Jesse Owens, unless I'm completely wrong about that, in which case I apologize. But Muhammad Ali was a noted conscientious objector for the Vietnam War draft. That he put his boxing career on hold because of that, because of being a conscientious objector, and had very strong political feelings in many ways, and obviously very left-leaning guy, very radical guy in a lot of ways. Obviously went with Elijah Muhammad and his boys over there, was very, very much a civil rights advocate. I think that's the biggest legacy that you can see from him outside of the boxing of it. But none of it works if he's not an all-time great boxer, which he was. He's not the greatest of all time, like he likes to say. He was the greatest showman, I would say. The closest thing we got to merging the WWE and boxing. Just an all-time great showman, a shit talker, a guy that could talk for days and was just great. Absolutely great. Pretty sad to see the way that it ultimately ended up with him down the stretch of his life. Obviously, the check came due after a certain point. He took so many of those hits to the head, especially in later fights where he should not have kept fighting, that ultimately you saw what happened from there. But I will say, man, this guy he belongs in the top 3. I got him right here at number 3. He certainly belongs in the top 5 because he is one of the most iconic American athletes of all time, an American hero in the boxing ring. That's why he is here. Number 2, I got Michael Jordan, folks. I have Michael Jordan, and it's because he is truly the most iconic basketball player of all time, and I'm not sure, LeBron James, I don't even think he comes close in this sort of pantheon. As a player, you can make an argument, and hey, it's basically split down the middle 50-50 at this point, whether you're Jordan or LeBron. There's a good argument for both sides, and both sides can feel like they come away from that conversation having won the argument. That's just kind of how close that is. No dispute as far as a cultural icon, a commercial icon. The Jordan brand is one of the most iconic brands in the entire world. Jordans are selling for hundreds and thousands of dollars off rip there. He created the most iconic shoe brand in the entire world. He was the most iconic player on the court in the entire world. You can make an argument. I'm not sure there's much of a debate. The most exciting player of all time. He scored like 34, 38 a game in one season early on in his career when he was just going at dudes. That was like skinny Michael Jordan before the Detroit Pistons really made him get in the gym and become the ultimately greater player that he was. He was scoring crazy. He was the most exciting player in all of basketball, and that propelled the NBA into global stardom. That propelled him into global stardom to becoming maybe the most commercially successful athlete of all time. And because of that, excuse me, especially his commercial legacy there, he ingrained himself in global culture for a long, long time, and well into the future he will be ingrained in global culture in a way that no other basketball player can say they have been. Not LeBron James, not Magic Johnson, not Kobe Bryant, not any other athlete in basketball history has had the impact globally that Michael Jordan has. So he is there at number 2 in this ranking. And at number 1, and you're going to hate me for this, and I fully implore you to hate, just while you're doing it, share it online and tell everyone how much you hate it and how much they should watch, because they should hate it too. I got Joey Chestnut here, man, of hot dog fame. 4th of July. We're talking 4th of July here. What's more American? And what is more iconic as an American to smoke everyone in the goddamn world, including Kobayashi, at eating fucking hot dogs? The hot dog eating machine, Joey Chestnut out here, just annihilating dogs, the greatest professional eater of all time. He doesn't just win in eating hot dogs where he's won like 16, 17 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating World Championships. We'll call it what it is. It's the World Championship. It's the most iconic hot dog eating competition in the world, and he just wins it every single fucking year because he's the greatest of all time. Undisputed. But he wins in everything. He's a machine. He's an absolute human vacuum. He beats everyone and everything related to eating. And what is more American than a man being more gluttonous than everyone else in the world? That's the most American tradition of all time here. Gluttony, especially eating the glizzies, eating the... Okay, get out of here, guys. I'm trying to go on a cooking here. But what is more American than eating hot dogs on 4th of July? What is more American than beating everyone else with the volume of hot dogs you can drink? And by the way, he can kill everyone in drinking beers too. I'll tell you what, he chugs with the best of them because he is a machine. Joey Chestnut, the most iconic American sports hero of all time. And I'll die on that hill, man. Joey Chestnut is a stud. And he should be respected for what he is, which is the number one American sports icon of all time. Jordan's great, but Joey Chestnut, man, something uniquely American about a man just hopping on stage and eating 60 to 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes. 5 minutes? I don't know. He's putting away glizzies at a speed not known to man previously, and there's nothing more American than that. Nothing in this entire world. And on that note, this has been Unqualified Analysis, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to do this again next week, then probably take a week off. And then we're going to gear up, getting right into the division previews. I'll tell you what, folks. So, if you want to follow along, follow me at CalebVUA over on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Listen, Elon bought that thing like 4 years ago at this point. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm going to be the last bastion calling it Twitter. They blew up that bird icon, that bird sign. Does not matter to me. It's still Twitter in my mind. But follow me over there at CalebVUA. Shoot me a DM if you want to get in contact. That's the best way to do it. You can also go to the email, unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com if you really want to, but just shoot me a DM. Also, follow me while you're at it. I don't require you to follow to shoot me a DM, but doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt, I'll tell you that much. Outside of that, hey, thank you all so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I have got no clue what I am talking about. One thing that I learned this week, though, if I can ever pull it up, already said that last week. I really need to start erasing these things before I say them, and that's one that I just need to take off entirely. But Celsius, the energy drink, not the unit of measurement for temperature, apparently has an active ingredient that can flag as a false positive for cocaine on MLB drug test. Doesn't happen on most drug tests, but I don't know. For that one in particular, the structure is apparently so similar that it shows up as coke on the MLB drug test. So there you go. If you're an MLB player, maybe we stay away from the Celsius, the Celsiuses, however you say the plural of Celsius. I'm going to say Celsius. That just rolls off the tongue here. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go edit this thing and maybe eat at a reasonable hour here. So you guys be good. You have a good week. Have a good 4th of July. Drink some beers for me. I know I'm going to be doing that for myself as well, but any extras for me on my behalf are more so welcome than anything else in this world. So you guys have a good one. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Take it easy.